Hi everyone, my name is Brian Norris and I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I like to create things so that I can personalize them to my own tastes, I can actually have something unique, and I can actually make sure that it's well made. Now, one thing that I've actually made in the past is a headboard, which is something I'm going to show you how to do today. Now, kind of the way this happened was, um, I'm a little tall and basically kind of sleep restlessly. And so what this means is that I'm not really able to fit too well in a regular bed. Now, my wife and I, our first bed was actually a queen size bed, and unfortunately I had my feet hanging off the bed most of the time, and I'd wake my wife up during the night kind of flailing and accidentally flopping an arm over on her, which she kind of did the same with kind of an elbow in the chest. Now, when we started looking for different beds, we needed to go up to California King, which it's semi-normal sized bed, but unfortunately it's hard to find anything for it custom made. So when we actually started looking for our own headboards, we didn't have much selection, and what we were finding was either pretty cheaply made, really expensive, or um, just would cost too much to even have shipped to us because nothing was actually even nearby. So instead of actually just trying to settle for something, my wife and I decided that we'd actually just go ahead and make our own. We did a little research and fortunately had a little bit of trial and error, which I'm going to try to help you avoid. And we ended up with a couple of gorgeous headboards that we actually have for both our own room and even made one for our guest bed. And I'm going to actually kind of show you how to make your own headboard today. So to start with, I want to go over just kind of a few of the basics. Now, the first thing you're going to start with is you want to actually find a good style that actually fits you best. Now, I've actually got on a slide a few of the different options. You can kind of go very basic, just kind of maybe cloth or something on the back. On here, a little hard to see, but there's just kind of the little nails or rivets kind of around the edging. This is actually one of the ones that me and my wife made, where we did something like that, but then also kind of did our own little design in the middle. You can make kind of the standard kind of tufted type of headboard with little kind of pooches sticking out from there, or you can go completely non-traditional. This is actually a headboard that's made from old books that were just kind of glued on the back of the headboard. So once you've actually figured that out, then the next point is you're going to have to actually get the correct measurements so you can actually get things started. Now, when you're actually measuring what you actually want, a few measurements that you're going to need to take is here you're going to need to know the width of side to side for the headboard. That'll actually let you know just kind of how wide you need to keep your posts on here. There's going to be the backing of the headboard. You want to actually try to determine how tall you want it to be. You may want it where it just kind of keeps your head from bumping the wall, or you may want something just a lot more fashionable and decorative. So once you actually have that, you're going to figure out how far from the floor to the top of the headboard you want it. And then once you measured that, you actually want to figure out kind of about 2/3 of that up the board. You're going to want the post to come from the bottom to the top of that back post. Now, with that, that'll actually kind of help keep it secure, keep it from getting possibly falling over. It'll just kind of make sure that it's pretty well secured to itself and just won't wiggle around very much. And then from there, you'll need to know, after you made that measurement, how wide and how tall you actually want that back headboard to be. Now you're going to want a little bit of extra space on each side to the left and right of this. And then you're going to measure, you're going to want to know the middle of the post from the left side to the right side where it actually is going to connect onto that back bed frame. Because basically all the headboard really is just the basic bones. You've got the post, that actually holds that backboard together, and also holds that up into the bed. Now you're going to want those to be thick, maybe an inch or two thick, just something that's going to not crack, something that's going to be very stable. It may be a little bit heavy, but that's all right because you're not going to really move it very much once you actually have it connected to the bed. Then the back part of it, which is going to be what you connect either a cloth or anything to, is going to be just kind of a basic flat board. It doesn't have to be very thick, maybe like an MDF board or a particle board. Just something that is going to be strong enough to hold up whatever you have. And you also want something that's not too flimsy, because once you actually put everything on there, you want to make sure that that actually lasts a while. Especially if you want this to be something that you use forever, you want to make sure to actually make that as kind of thick and as strong as the best kind of materials you can get. Doesn't have to be the most expensive, but something thick and strong. It's the best thing to do for it. Now, for the actual bones to make this, you're going to have, again, just those pieces. The two posts are always going to be the same size, obviously, because it's just 2 feet, kind of like on a table. And then you're going to have that backboard. Now, once you've actually got that, at the base of each of the posts, to keep from scratching your floor or tearing into the carpet, and so you can kind of move it around a little, you actually want to attach these. It's kind of a plastic feet for the bottom of those posts. It'll keep those from actually sticking to kind of a tile or wood floor. It'll actually make sure that you don't mess up anything, either the post or your floors. Then, once you've actually got those to the post itself, you'll actually attach those to the backboard as well. Now for that, just these kind of screws work as well. Just kind of a wood screw that is thick enough or long enough to actually go through the board and into, but not completely through, that post. That'll actually make sure that it attaches well, and also kind of make sure that you don't have any kind of needle point sticking out of the back of those posts, which could stab you or anyone that's kind of moving those around. Now, for this as well, when you're actually kind of making that basic bones for this, this is going to be kind of what you want to do for the base of each of those posts. Because once you've actually got everything put together and designed, you're going to want to actually have a way to attach the posts themselves and the headboard directly to your bed frame. Now, this is kind of the standard for the end of the bed frame where that attaches to any kind of headboard. So what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that you actually have the type of holes on there that are going to match to the headboard itself. Now, one of the reasons this actually has this long slit is because the height of the actual bed frame is going to be a little higher or lower for different types of beds. This will actually allow you to be able to move the headboard from one bed frame to another if you ever actually want to change that or if you have any kind of issues and need to replace them in the future. Now, for the actual board, this is where you actually get to decide and actually make it to your own specifications. Get designed the way you want. Now, when you're actually doing, one thing we're going to be talking about here is kind of a fabric or some sort of kind of upholstery type of backing for that headboard. Just kind of do that type of material. This one here actually has batting, which is just kind of a foam material, or can be kind of almost like a cotton roll that you actually find at a lot of different design fabric stores, even some different craft stores. You can actually find those in huge rolls that you can actually use. And what you'll actually do is almost like canvas for a painting. You'll actually have the batting and the fabric that are actually longer on the sides and wider than the actual headboard frame itself. This way, once you're actually attaching it, you'll be able to kind of pull it up and, like they're doing here, pull it over and stretch it along the sides of that board. And then you're going to actually use kind of a basic thing like this. This is just a regular type of staple gun, and you'll actually be able to attach that to the back of the frame on the sides. It'll keep it secure, and as long as you actually use enough of those, it'll actually keep that on there permanently. Also, along with that, you'll actually be able to kind of get the different types of designs and different items. Now, in here, these are different types of upholstery nails. You can actually find those, again, in a lot of different fabric upholstery stores. A lot of craft stores have them as well. It's just kind of very basic, almost like a thumbtack type of size with different designs. You can see here kind of jeweled, kind of a hammered look with some, kind of rounded, different colors, designs. All that is up to you. You can go very basic, just kind of do around the trim. You can even actually do in kind of crazy designs. Again, whichever you actually want to do, it's all up to you because you're actually making it yourself. Now, when you're doing that, one thing that's very important, and this is, again, one of the things that we found out the hard way, is that when you're actually marking this, so that you actually know where you want to hammer those different upholstery nails in, you're going to want to use something like this. Now, this is a fabric pen. It's something that can wipe off or wash off very easily. It doesn't actually scratch up anything. My wife and I, we actually use kind of a pleather type of item, kind of a vinyl for our backing. And when we were trying to kind of mark and design where we wanted everything to go, then we actually used some chalk, which kind of scratched up that stuff itself. So again, just a basic marking pen, fabric marking pen, washes off, works great. Now, once you've got that, all you really need to do before you actually attach it and get it done is on the back, once you've actually attached the headboard to the posts or even the headboard to the bed frame, you're actually going to be using kind of some long screws like this. Now, because it has to actually go through both the bed frame and those posts, headboard, anything you actually have, you're going to want to use something longer than you actually may potentially need, just because you don't want to actually come up short. And it's very hard to get any kind of very specific sized thing already made for different types of screws or bolts. Once you've actually got it, the screw you've put in there and gotten it all attached, to make sure it doesn't actually scratch up the back of the wall, you're going to need to actually cut that bolt or the screw kind of down to size. Now, since it's already attached in, the best thing that you can do is use some sort of like a permanent marker and just kind of mark how long you need it. And then one thing that we used, and this is a very good trick, is just kind of a basic saw, or in this case we used just a handheld Dremel with just kind of a metal cutting attachment for that. So we actually had it marked. We just used that, sliced off that extra part, smoothed it out, put it right back on, and it was perfectly flush, so that it didn't actually go past that post at all. Worked out great. It's keeping our walls from being scratched up, and it looks perfect. And that is it. So basically, the main thing I want you to take away from this is that if you use the right kind of material, the right kind of tools, then you can actually have just kind of a beautiful headboard that you've made yourself, that you know that you're going to be happy with for years to come. You have any questions?
No.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Have a wonderful day.